This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite, PAS10, DSTV Audio Bouquet 802, and OpenView Bouquet, Channel 628.
As Ghana prepares for a new chapter under President-elect John Dramani Mahama, all eyes are on his anti-corruption agenda. Following his decisive victory on December the 7th presidential election, where he secured around 56% of the vote, Mahama has wasted no time in setting up an anti-graft team to tackle corruption and recover illicit proceeds. At the helm of this effort is MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, a seasoned lawmaker and a chair of the Parliamentary Committee on Assurances, who has a track record of addressing suspected state corruption. To explore the implications of this initiative and what it means for governance in Ghana, I spoke to Jonathan Offei-Ansah, who's the founder and publisher of AfricaBriefing, and that's a Pan-African news magazine based in London. I began by asking if President-elect Mahama faced any major challenges in his anti-corruption campaign.
I'm not sure he faces any major challenges, simply because the vast majority of the Ghanaian citizens are behind him. The incumbent administration lost election massively. Actually, they only won 3 out of the 16 regions in Ghana. And the massive vote against the incumbent administration is because of perceived corruption. Ghanaians want to see the corrupt officials, in this government brought to book. And actually, in the President-elect's manifesto, there's a section called the 120-day social contract, under which he aims to execute and achieve certain policies within 120 days. And one of the major plans of that document, of that policy, is to identify all corrupt activities within this government, the current government, outgoing government, right, and make sure they recover all the loots and prosecute them. Actually, it is being given an acronym, ORAL, O-R-A-L, meaning Operation Recover All Loot.
So the list of cases probably is quite long, as you said, but perhaps you can tell us what kinds of corruption and graft have been taking place and how far up the food chain does it go?
Look, number one, when this current government, Akufo-Addo government, came into office in 2017, it has, I think, Ghana has a population of 32 million, okay? And it has one of the biggest governments currently that I know of in Africa, about 125 ministers, right? And more than 1,000 presidential staffers, okay? And the corruption chain, that food chain stretches all the way from the top to the bottom of the ruling administration. We have so many scandals. Look, I could name, I think in 2019, a report by the Africa Center for Energy Policy, revealed that Ghana loses billions annually through tax evasion and under-collection in sectors like mining and oil. Similarly, a 2020 report by the Ghana Integrity Initiative also highlighted systemic corruption in public procurement and revenue administration. In 2021, the Auditor General's report also exposed irregularities in public spending, amounting to billions of cedis in uncollected taxes and misappropriated funds. Not to mention the high-profile scandals like the PDS, the Power Distribution Service, which ostensibly was meant to privatize power distribution in Ghana. And of course, power distribution was done mainly by the Electricity Company of Ghana, which is state-owned, right? To which the US government was going to allocate 190 million pounds. But I cannot mention it, but a number of the current president's cronies actually wanted to hijack the whole PDS into their own entity, commercial entity, right? And when it was exposed, the US government withdrew, was so disgusted that it withdrew that 190 billion funding for the PDS. Okay, I mean, I could go on and on, but I'm not sure time will permit it. This is one of the major scandals we have. And then we talk about, you live in South Africa, we have illegal mining. We in Ghana call it galamsey. Now, about 75% of Ghana's water bodies are polluted, to the extent that the Ghana Water Company said that, look, if we don't take care, we'll end up exporting even drinking water in a few years' time. Okay, and the president, Akufo-Addo, it's on record as saying that he was going to put his presidency on the line to stop galamsey. Okay, but it has worsened. The incidence of galamsey has worsened under his administration, under his watch. Okay, and again, most members of government are implicated, right, in galamsey operations in the country.
Okay, so what we've seen in other parts of the continent is when there's a change of administration, there sometimes can be seen to be dealing with political enemies under so-called going after corruption. I wonder, how does President Mahama-elect keep this apolitical?
I wouldn't say it's apolitical. You see, Rana, he set up a commission today, I think a 5-member commission, to investigate corruption. And I'm sure that some people might think it's witch hunt, but there's no witch hunt in this. Like I said earlier, the people of Ghana want to see action, want to see, perpetrators of corruption in this administration brought to book, okay, and all their ill-gotten assets, ill-gotten wealth, recovered by the state to complete projects like hospitals, roads, and so on and so forth. So, look, I wouldn't say it's neither political nor apolitical, but this is something that needs to be done because Ghanaians are fed up with rampant corruption in the country, corruption with impunity in the country. So I don't know whether it's apolitical or political, but this is something that Ghanaians are calling for.
Former President Mahama, do they trust him to do the job of cleaning up all of this graft? During his own administration, there were several scandals, weren't there? The Youth Employment and Entrepreneurial Development Agency, the Savannah Accelerated Development Authority, the bus branding scandal, Smarties contract controversy. There were quite a lot of allegations during his own administration. Do they trust that he'll deal with the corruption that's on the table and that he'll keep his own administration corrupt-free?
From where I'm sitting, from my personal observation, my own personal analysis, look, Mahama was vilified. I was in Ghana, 2016 and before the elections, and Mahama was vilified left, right, center, top to bottom. Okay, I mean, he was accused of owning a hotel in Dubai, owning a ship that was birthed in, I think, Singapore or Hong Kong, and he was involved in an Airbus scandal to purchase an aircraft for the Ghana Armed Forces. But when he was out of office, when this administration took over in 2017, I mean, he was found to be very clean as a hotel, right? Yes, I accept that some members of his administration, were involved in corrupt deals. But look, to his credit, I remember one of his deputy ministers said that he would not quit politics until she'd got about $1 million in her account. When that matter became public, President Mahama sacked her. Right? You mentioned the bus branding scandal. The minister in charge of that was made to resign. Okay. Now, in this government, one minister was found to have stacked more than $1 million, more than €1 million, and also more than a lot of money in Ghanaian currency, cedi, in his house. Her maid managed to steal close to about $1 million from the house, and she couldn't even notice until accidentally something happened for her to realize that her maid had stolen that amount of money from her bedroom. Okay, how could the minister ask me? Nothing has happened to that minister was made to resign, yes, under this government. But ask me if that minister has been prosecuted, if that minister has been made to account for how she managed to accumulate that huge amount of money. I mean, millions in euros, millions in dollars, and millions in Ghanaian cedis. Ask me. Okay, so it's a question of comparing,
Right.
the two men, the two administrations, right? But in my opinion, if you ask me, I will tell you that Mahama's previous administration were Boy Scouts compared to this current administration.
All right. So the anti-corruption team is chaired by MP Samuel Okudzeto
Okudzeto
Ablakwa.
Ablakwa. Yeah.
Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about him, his record, and also the other members of the team. Is this the team that can get it done based on their credentials?
Yes. Okudzeto Ablakwa has been an MP for at least, I think, 1 decade or so. He used to be Deputy Minister for Information and later became Deputy Minister for Education. And since they went into opposition, this gentleman, has become an anti-corruption crusader, right? I mean, it became the norm over the past few years, couple of years or so, when this gentleman will be on TV holding press conferences to expose corrupt deals by the government and expose them, not just mere conjectures, no, but made these allegations with evidence, to back up those accusations. Look, he made a lot of noise about the cathedral that the president Akufo-Addo promised to build, right? To thank God for making him president of Ghana, right? And that cathedral is now one of the most expensive pits I've ever known in the whole world. It cost about $58 million US. Okay, so this is Okudzeto Ablakwa for you, anti-corruption campaigner, right? And we have the former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo, right, who was forced to proceed on leave, right, because he uncovered some significant irregularities, within government. Okay, even the matter went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled that the president had violated the Constitution by appointing an acting Auditor General while Domelevo was still in office.
That was Jonathan Offei-Ansah, founder and publisher of AfricaBriefing, a Pan-African news magazine based in London.
That podcast was courtesy of Channel Africa, the African perspective.